and it missed most of my intro, but that's okay. And so last year we did a similar webinar in regards to Mayfield that had just did an install of the IceGrid. And since then, we've had 2 more installs, one out in Southern California, and Matt Gamboa is on for that, and Rock Creek out in Colorado. And Scott Stevenson could not make this time change, so we'll just speak to it from secondhand, I guess. What I'd like to do now is introduce, I guess, our first, introduce our panel and then introduce Shawn Olesen. First, we have Saeed Hakim, president and owner of Ice Sports and Solar Systems out in Germany. Thank you, Saeed. We have Matt Gamboa, co-founder of Southern California Curling Club. Awesome project out there. It's great to see dedicated ice out in California. Art Sutherland, president and owner of Accent Refrigeration, and really a curling refrigeration powerhouse of an individual all over the globe, helped out in many Olympics as well. And then Shawn Olesen, our newly appointed head USCA full-time ice technician. So with that, thank you again. And Shawn, thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Like Steve said, I just came on full-time actually last Monday with USA Curling to be the head ice tech. In the past little while, I've been doing it part-time as well as having the day job. This change is going to allow us to hopefully take a little better care of our off-ice responsibilities and duties, so we can a little more outreach to the clubs and the other ice makers, so we can make sure everybody's up to speed, from the club curler on once a week on Tuesday, all the way up to the people competing for these spots in the Olympic trials, like here in Mayfield. The goal is to get everybody on good ice competing at a high level, or as high a level as they care to. So we're going to kind of talk about Saeed's ISS system and how it works with Art's Accent Refrigeration. I can tell you from spending the week here in Mayfield, I was here to install this system last November. It went great. I was here with Thomas and Stefan from ISS. We spent the week working with the local group, putting it together. Went together well. I wasn't here for the startup when they got the plant running, but when I came back, they had a COVID year under their belt, whatever that means, but they got to use it for a while. They were happy with it. So we've got to use it, trying to build some championship ice for these Olympic trials, or Olympic trial qualifier. It's gone fantastic. The ice performs as would be expected. The plant has been great. I tell Dave Salem runs the plant for me with his laptop. I tell him a number and the plant goes there within 20 minutes, and then it stays there. He can tighten the parameters where it cycles, and it does just what I want it to during the game. Really nothing to complain about. I can't speak to any real drawbacks. I hate to sound like a salesman for these guys, but this is a fantastic system and it works well together. So, besides what we're here to talk about with the system, any other questions, or feel free to jump in too. So, I forgot. So I've been also, when we were in Irvine for Curl Night, and I've been able to work with Matt and his group in LA at the Southern California Curling Center. I wasn't there for that install, but helped them learn a few things about good practices and whatnot for keeping their ice in good shape for their members. So I've spent some time with them at theirs. Matt will tell you some stories about their experiences, how that went. But it just seems like it's a good fit wherever it's at. I'm excited to get to Denver to see how things are going in Lafayette at the Rock Creek Club too. So, but I guess we maybe see. I don't know where you want to go next, Steve.
Well, so Art dropped off. Hopefully he can come back on. But
Okay.
yeah, so while we wait for Art, Saeed, why don't you go ahead since this is focused on the IceGrid system. Take it away.
Well, so welcome everybody, the ones that know me and the ones who don't. I think it's my 5th members assembly already. It's a shame we couldn't have the last recent two live, but as you said, I was just for 2 weeks in the US traveling. So we're a German company based in Germany, but we are ice technology partner of USA Curling, as we are for German Curling Federation, for the World Curling Tour and Curling Zone. We build our ice rinks with our patented IceGrid system all around the world. So the nice thing about the Olympic trials qualifier in Mayfield is that everybody knows they will also play on the same ice in Beijing, meaning that our IceGrid system has also been installed for the Olympics in Beijing. We also already had the first test event for 2026 in Milano. We have a system that fits easily for new arenas, as we find it now in Denver Rock Creek Curling, but also for warehouse conversions. And the reason why it's a very good fit also for warehouse conversions is that even if it was designed to work for permanent installations, because the system is not filled with sand, concrete, or anything else, means you can install it and you can take it away again. Meaning the landlord, when you discuss about the lease, there is nothing to be afraid of. There is no sand floor, no concrete being pulled. We will not even need a header pipe trench, so we can show you some pictures from recent installations, as in LA or as in Mayfield, where you just see we can all have on one floor. You do not need to dig in anywhere. You do not need to do any constructional change in the building, which can give you a hard time with the landlord or owner. This is not the case. Some of the things that ice techs like Shawn already set the reaction time. So I know Art builds great refrigeration systems, which is one of the reasons why we also work together with him worldwide. But the best refrigeration system can only have an effect in a very short time if the ice rink piping allows it. And there is already one big issue when we compare ourselves to a concrete rink, is that in a concrete rink, you have so much energy in the concrete that the system is very slow in reacting. Meaning like the guys from the Olympic, Hans Wuttrich, Mark McKellen, Stefan Rötlisberger, on the level as Shawn is working, they also love the system because it allows you to react on the conditions that you find. And when you have an Olympic or Worlds venue where 3,000 people are getting into the arena in 30 minutes, I always say the dew point, the temperature of the ice, the temperature of the arena, the humidity, it's dancing tango. And so it's hard really to control the ice under these conditions, especially if you have a concrete floor, for example. But with the IceGrid system, you're even in the position to do adjustments on there. And some of the reasons is that our pipes are completely embedded by the water and by the ice. Means all that you see here is a little bit less than 2 inch is ice, and then we have a top layer of ice here. And the pipes are in the ice. Means you have direct contact from the brine or from the glycol over the pipe to the ice. And because we have a ribbed tubing, a ribbed pipe, let me see if you can see this here, we have around 3 times as much surface of the pipe than you would have with a flat tube. And this means, of course, the energy is always transferred by the surface, means 3 times higher surface, means 3 times better reaction time, and you are much more in the ice. The other nice thing about a tubed ribbed pipe is that we have steady turbulences in the pipe because of the ribbed shape. The brine or the glycol has steady turbulences, meaning that in comparison to a flat tube, where you will always find a core in the middle of the pipe that does not transfer the energy, which you can see when you have a heat camera, and then it does not matter if it's a 1/2 inch or 6-inch pipe, you always find cool blue medium in the core, and then it's blue, yellow, green, orange, red on the outside. And we guarantee that all the glycol or all what you send to the ice rink is mixed through. So you get more of what you send from the chiller through the outlet pipe into the ice. You make sure it really ends up in the ice. Another thing on the system is the stability. As you see, we have a honeycomb system where the pipes are laid in, meaning you can drive with a 40-ton truck on top of this honeycomb system. Means also you can cover it if you want to have summer, if you close your facility, you can cover it with a rubber floor, with plywood, with whatever you want, and you can park if you have a golf club at your curling club, you can park the golf carts in summer on the IceGrid system, or you can rent it out for weddings, for social activities. In Switzerland, we have in Limmertal, Urtal club that opened last year. They have all summer long a gymnasium where they practice jumps and all different stuff on the IceGrid, which is just covered roughly. So you have a lot of possibilities without harming the pipe. So there is not any chance that you could harm the pipe with driving on it. You can drive with a truck on it, with a forklift truck, with whatever we want. In case you wonder, we have 2 different pipes. That's an easy story. We have the plastic pipe, which is called IceGrid Classic, and we have the special stainless steel pipe, which is called IceGrid Plus. Because of the better energy conductivity from IceGrid Plus compared to IceGrid Classic, you will find on the long run less energy consumption. But of course, when we are talking about the investment from the beginning on is higher. So for example, for the Olympics in Beijing, it's the plastic pipe. So there is no difference in the ice quality, not at all. Just in the long run, if you have the chance to get more funding, to invest more in front in the IceGrid Plus, it will benefit your operational costs on the long run over the years. But on the ice quality, there is no difference. The lifetime of the plastic pipe is around 45 to 50 years. We worked with the material since 25 years. And honestly, we expect it even to work longer, because what better can you do than protect it in the ice? So there is no aging, it's indoors, so there is no UV or ozone impact on the pipe. So we are pretty confident with that. From the special stainless steel pipe, of course, well, I couldn't name any limit in lifetime because there is no corrosion in the pipe. So the generations after ours will probably find on one or the other spot still the IceGrid pipe in the floor, but no roof or whatever on top of it. So when time has passed by. I don't know, Steve, can we get questions? Is it possible? Maybe anybody has questions to me on the system, or how shall we handle that?
Thanks, Said. So we do have a Q&A that's available at the bottom, and we do have a chat available at the bottom.
Yeah, here is
We
he.
can do that as we go, or we could wait until the end. Right now, there's nothing in there, but I'm
Okay.
sure there will be questions that pop up.
Okay. Well, I would say we could have a look at an installation video, and as we have met here, I would say we could have a look at the video from Southern California Curling Center in Vernon, LA. So let me see. And this is a warehouse conversion, right? So it's a 6-sheet installation, a warehouse conversion. You see the red pipes is the warm heater floor. Southern California Curling Center is operating 12 months a year. If not operating 12 months a year, let's say maximum 8 months, you do not need a warm heater floor with our system. 4-inch of insulation is fine. And the reason is that the temperature is lower than what you have on a concrete floor because you need that temperature in order to result on height. So what you have seen now is the insulation, which covered the warm heater floor, and now they put in the membrane in order to create the tank. What we need, of course, is we need like a bathtub, a tank where we put our IceGrid system in and where the water comes in up.
Saeed,
So yes,
I hate to interrupt, but are you on 2 screens at your office?
yes. Is it the wrong one?
We're seeing we're seeing the folder with all of your installs.
Well, that's not what was planned.
It's okay. It's Sunday
Good
morning.
to know. Okay, let me try it again, okay? Sorry for that, guys. Well, you were quite patient then, Steve.
Pardon?
You were quite patient, so.
Oh, well, I was like, well, maybe something's going to change, but
Okay, just a moment.
like I said, it's Sunday morning.
Yeah. You see something now?
Same thing.
You don't see the video?
No.
Okay, well, that's exciting. That's exciting. And just a moment. Let me see if we get it here. Let me see if I can share the screen to our Facebook site. It's also on Facebook.
So while you're doing that, well, let's see what happens here.
Do you see Facebook now?
Yes.
Okay. And let's get the video from there. Well, I apologize for that.
That's okay. So Saeed, one question. Does the rib surface or arc affect pump pressure? Does that make sense to you?
You're muted. I think you're talking, but you're muted.
I am?
No, Art.
Oh,
You have to unmute yourself, Art. On the left bottom, usually. Where the microphone is?
I see it. Okay,
Yeah,
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Through the rib surface, the pressure drop is greater than through a round pipe, but the heat exchange is quite a bit better. And what I'll talk about a little bit later is to address the higher pressure drop, we've switched to a new secondary coolant, which has a fraction of the pressure drop that glycol does. So we've been able to totally eliminate any ill effects of pressure drop.
thanks.
Yeah.
Can this retrofit to an existing ice plant?
Yes, absolutely. So that was what was done in Mayfield, for example, and on many other occasions. So in many times, we refurbish an existing arena. We have either new builds for dedicated arenas or warehouse conversions, but we also have a lot of projects where we replace the old floor and we still use the existing cooling system. Means if it's an ammonia system, then we need a heat exchanger to run it with glycol. So our system can run either with brine, with glycol, or with aqua ammonia. And together with Art, we've developed a great aqua ammonia upgrade for our IceGrid Plus system. And the aqua ammonia as brine replacement reduces the necessary horsepower over 80% because of the fluid of the aqua ammonia compared to others.
Great. One more question and then we'll get to the video. So if this were installed on an existing concrete floor, how much does it raise the ice level above the existing floor?
If you have an existing floor, we would usually still like to get some insulation installed. So it's always a question of what do we find on site, right? So is there a warm heater floor in the existing concrete? Is there an insulation? And to be honest, there is hardly one project like another. You will find mostly arenas. I mean, these are arenas. Many of them have been built first time 40, 50, 60 years ago on an average. You want to put in a new floor. There are many things to consider about the situation of the insulation of the warm heater floor. But if everything would be fine and we just go on the concrete, we are talking about 3 to 3.5 inch to the ice level, which is with our IceGrid, meaning a little bit less than 2 inch for the IceGrid. And then depending to the ice maker, 1 to 1.5 inch of ice on top of the IceGrid level, on top of the IceGrid pipe.
I think just adding to that, I think for the question, the 4 inches of insulation under that. So our
Yes.
floor is about 6 inches, 8 inches above the concrete, and our walkways are another couple inches above that. So our end viewing windows go up 2 feet above the ice, and it's, you know, just a little bit above our platform. So it raises it a little bit, but the biggest issue in that case for us was just creating access with ADA ramps, because it needs a long ramp to get up to the height that your platforms are. So that's just one like extra consideration. Otherwise, it's just, as Saeed said, it goes right on top. And when we went to our landlords or prospective landlords, we took a whole level of everything, you know, that they're going to see with the insulation, the foam, the pool liner, showed them that stuff, showed them it's all going to go away when if we need to move out. And it really assuaged a lot of those fears. Even our walls that we put up are insulated panels that are 6 inches of insulation with stainless steel on either side. So we didn't hang any drywall or no framing. And basically the entire ice setup we have in there can be removed and taken somewhere else. If you see this video when it starts, those platforms in the middle are repurposed pallet shelves. So they're the steel pallet shelves that we cut down to make our walkway, and those can easily be taken out and taken to the next location when we need to go to, you know, 8 sheets or 12 sheets or whatever it might be. So that was a big consideration. So it's really, you know, we probably could have gone shorter on the platforms, but they're a good level with where we're at, about like a foot roughly off the cement.
So I will just start the video. So again, here, as I said before, you see the warm heater floor as it's installed in between the first layer of insulation. Then they cover it cross by 90 degrees over the warm heater floor and the insulation. On top of that, the membrane is installed in order to create the pool, the tank, where we could put in our IceGrid system and the water. So here you see the membrane. It is welded in this case. It can be glued. It can be welded. It can be made of PVC. It can be made of EBDM, of rubber. There are many suitable products. It's mostly what you just have on the roof, similar to that. So a lot of general contractors are able to supply that scope of work, and we always ask that to be done locally in terms of warranty issues, because when we leave, this can still be damaged by someone. So this is just a very easy solution to get it locally on site, and we never had any client running into a problem finding someone to. So here you see the IceGrid tile elements now. They're around 4 to 5 times the size of my hand sample. It's about 1 inch by 1.3 inch from the size. You connect it into each other. So you have a top system where you put them one into the next. You lay them out on top of a geotextile layer that also is supplied by us. This we have in order to, when you start the installation and form, and you turn on, you have a friction on the material, and we use this like a sliding foil membrane. We do not want that to interact with. And it's also white, and this way it allows you to use it without using Z-eyes or without using anything else. I mean, you can put in an extra, you can put in Z-eyes. We are having 2 rinks now built this year. One is in LA, one is in Mayfield. They did not put in anything. And maybe if you have a club with old members that are playing since a long time, they will talk about it for a couple of weeks, but we found out that many people appreciate it. It gives you a feeling you see the cooling technology, so it's quite a nice thing to have. But maybe Shawn can say something to that, or Matt, how the feedback was from the guys from Hollywood Curling, the ones that were playing already longer. But it's a nice gimmick, seeing the technology still having the white ice. So
everybody I've dealt with that's seen it, they get used to the look of the grid system in the ice very quickly. I like the look of it. I think it's just kind of a neat novelty thing, and very quickly you just don't even notice it. We've got a textile layer in our club, since we don't paint over the cement. The one we have, we personally didn't install correctly to begin with, and it's been stretched and wrinkled some, and it's kind of, you know, you can see those wrinkles all the way through. This is a real consistent repeating pattern that it really just disappears once you start walking over it and using it. Some people are a little alarmed by it, but it goes away quick. I tell people that if it was up to me, I wouldn't put any paint over top of it, but it's possible. You know, you just have to, if you are letting your ice out, you've got to be there and be ready to get it, you know, squeegeed off or washed off, whichever way you decide. But yeah, there's some pictures in LA. They painted those circles over. You know,
so you see, this is the IceGrid Classic, right? So
yep.
This is already coming with the white pipes. You have the white IceGrid tile elements. You have the white pipes. Either paint the houses or get them mesh the print, but they do not color it. And we have quite a couple of rinks these days. They don't paint anymore. They don't put any hack to hack. I mean, it's just a matter of investment, right? Spending quite some money every season. So this is just another option, and it's just up to the club. There is no issue in terms of regulation whatsoever. It just gives you an option, and for us, it's all about presenting options to our customers, and then everyone needs to decide for himself what fits best to the club.
Once we saw the photos from Mayfield when they installed it last year, we knew there was no reason we had to paint or had to do a full sheet hack to hack or anything like that, because we know it would look great with just, you know, houses in there, and it'd be a novelty for a lot of people as well. And yeah, to Shawn's point, no one has specifically commented on it. Everyone just plays in it. It's just, you know, it also helps that it's been, you know, it was a year and a half between people curling and not, so people just were happy to come back. But there's also little subtle things that it helps with too, just kind of like, you know, I've heard feedbacks for like skips or vice skips, like, oh, I remember where to put the broom down because it was on this pipe, right? Like they see those things in there, and there's advantages that players can pull out of it as well, besides you know, just the cool look of it. And yeah, it really has a nice, like, because sometimes after going from that, when we helped out with Shawn's crew in Curling Night in America, and they had the nice white ice painted in there, it almost felt too bright. it almost felt like too much. And so it looks nice on TV, but in there it's like, oh, I kind of like having the texture of the ice underneath, and it also just gives the club its own, like, unique look too. And I think there's something to having a club that has its own thing as well. So
that's Mayfield. So that's also without any paint or without any mesh. Come on. So here you can see it. I mean, you can see the IceGrid, right? It's not like a plain white ice. You can see the technology behind it. But like I said, some people like it even.
Saeed, one question, maybe this is technology too far ahead, but have you ever thought of different color grids?
Well, we have black color, which we use for outdoor installations when we have our multi-court, where multi-floor or an AstroTurf is put on top of the IceGrid. And then it's black because it has partial parts of coal rust, and that increases the stability against UV and ozone, which you have, of course, if you expose it outdoors, yes? I mean, we could produce it in any color, but so far, nobody came yet and wanted red ice or green ice or blue ice, but,
I was thinking more about somehow incorporating the markings, I guess, like maybe the hog line or a house, something with a little bit of color to it.
Yeah, I mean, it would be possible, but still the pipes, they go through all the line, right? So we have the header pipes on the short side. And this is also something I want to show to everybody. So on the header pipes, we have quite some feature. We have shut-off valves on each header pipe, meaning on each loop of the pipe, from the inlet to the outlet and back, we can turn on or shut off each single loop. That means it gives you the possibility. We're currently also talking to some rinks that plan for bigger 8, 10, 12 sheets. And they very much also like the idea by having the possibility to control the numbers of sheets at any time of the year for the club. Meaning you can have a 4, a 6, and 8 sheet club having no summer ice yet, because of course, with a regular system, you go all in or nothing, right? Because you cannot say, I only want 1 or 2 sheets. You either play the big game or you don't play at all. So with our system, you could literally start with 1 sheet. Just try it. Just make some arrangement. I mean, most clubs, they paid already or still have to pay for the infrastructure every month, even if there is no ice in it. So why not try it out and using it for summer ice? And as I said, with the IceGrid, you can change the numbers of sheets at any time during the operation just by turning off or turning the shut-off valve on. Easy as that. And also by this system, I know Matt was talking about a possible expansion, which we very much hope. We've been working with these great guys in LA now since 3 years. And have seen what they had to go through to finally have the ice there. And I know they are doing a great job. So I hope it will be bigger one day. And also with our system, it's just easy as that. We have a flange at each sheet. So we can just connect another flange, another header pipe, just lay out another tile element row from 1 sheet, put in the pipe, or even reduce it. So we could have an existing arena, like if LA, if they have an event somewhere for 3 or 4 months, because Hollywood studio, they want 2 sheets of curling. James Gordon wants to play curling now for 2 months in his studio every night. Well, they could literally take 1 sheet out by just the header, turning off the flange, taking out that 1 sheet, install it there, bring it back again 3 months later. So like I said, our system was always designed to be installed permanently, but because it's not filled with sand, it's not filled with concrete or whatsoever, you just have a lot of option and a big rate of flexibility.
Yeah, on that note too, what was nice about this system, because I believe we were the first US club to kind of commit to this system and we got it, but we weren't the first to install it because we didn't have a building. So I
Yeah,
think Tahoe was the first, right? Because
Yeah.
we saw all the stuff, the great curling they were doing out there, it really like, confirmed that decision. But what was really nice about it is that we got all this IceGrid in to prepare for our eventual building. But the challenge is we didn't know how big this building was going to be, how many sheets we were going to be. But because of this modularity, we were able to have all the IceGrid and the piping, and just we knew we were covered no matter how big or small the space was, and we can get creative with it. So in this scenario, what we ended up with, it was a big warehouse with support beams down the middle. So we had to go 3 and 3 and measure that out and everything. And we were able to do it exactly, however, to our measurements, because this grid could be set up however you need it to be. So it was actually great for us in terms of when we were ready to find a place, we knew we would have enough sheets for all that location, and it moved it right in. We had all that stuff. So it was nice during COVID is we had all everything ready to go on the IceGrid side, because we got that so early. So it was, with all the COVID delays that happened, getting the grid and having that proper amount wasn't any of our problems. So it was really nice to have that flexibility in this system too.
and I've seen in the visitor list Edie from Epic Curling. So hello. Maybe they want to have more than 2 sheets now. I hope to talk to you later about that, Edie, then. Yeah, we can just, as I said, you buy a warehouse conversion. I have some nice pictures from Mayfield, and sometimes just having the pictures, it's a little bit better to see. Well, I know that gentleman on the left side. So you guys see the pictures?
Yep.
Perfect.
Also, do you have a picture of where Stefan put the little pad to part the scraper off the ice?
I'm not sure. I have to check.
I might have one.
So here you see the header pipes, right? And here you see each house is connected with a flange. So they're single, just one header by a house. You see the shutoff valves. So each single circuit is connected to each other. And here you see usually we find big header pipe trenches, right? So I can show you later a picture from a hockey, or let me see here. Do you see the pictures here?
Yep.
Yeah, so this was Reno Ice, the new hockey arena. It also opened this year. It's also an IceGrid installation with IceGrid Plus, special stainless steel pipe. And here the header pipe trench looks completely different. It's on the short side, on the hockey rink. So we always try to do it on the short side, and because of the ripped pipe and the perfect flow rate, it's not a problem going the long run with the pipe. And you just pay the header pipes per inch, per feet, per meter. So it just makes more sense for the clients to have it cheaper, meaning on the shorter side. So let me show you the header pipe trench. Here we see it. So this is a regular header pipe trench from a big installation now. Here you see it. So we can usually stand in it. You can have easy access during operation. You have a real service channel, header pipe trench style, so much bigger than what we find here now for the warehouse conversions. But we can make it fit to have it on the same floor. So I just wanted to show you the difference in between what we usually have and what we can still make possible. Because if we are talking warehouse conversions, or if you're talking situation, you do not want to spend too much money by digging down into the concrete or just building a new header pipe trench. We have a lot of options again, and this is just a very easy option. It's a little bit more work for the installation, and it's not a favorable solution to my guys if we ask them before they come for the installation. But if it's suitable for the client, then it's done. Here you see again the headers. You see the single IceGrid tile elements. And here we have it separated. So as you have seen in LA, we have 3 and 3. Here we have 1, 2, and 1 sheet. So no matter if afterwards or during the installation, or if you have columns like here, the system is completely flexible. It can go around columns. Really around means the column can be in the ice and the ice goes around, or it can be done like this, where you have 2 or 3 inches without ice underneath and separate the ice pads and the sheets. So it's just a very flexible system in general. See the headers again. Yeah, you see the flange valve. So just shut it down, pressure test each system. So before we fill it with glycol, with brine, with whatever, system is always completely pressure tested. And then it's hooked up to the either existing chiller or to the new chiller setup.
Saeed, I don't know if you have this video, but the piping install is a unique process too. And I remember in Mayfield, there was a pretty fun video that was shared on Facebook where it's almost like a ride that you got to do. Not you, but Shawn, maybe you remember who it was.
There was a lot of guys taking turns. Yeah, but you get on the cart, and there's a little trolley that pushes the pipes and snaps them into the grid, so you can do. I think we do 8 at a time on the plastic and 4 at a time on the stainless, if I'm correct. And you just back and forth. And the best way to have the extra weight to push it in is to put a person on the cart and the trolley with it. So up and down the sheets you go.
Right.
Yeah, so there are a lot of different ways how it can be done. This is Reno. Let me see where that is.
Yeah, Superman.
So they were having fun in Reno. Yeah, so there are many different ways and possibilities how to do that. And usually because you saw here one of the local workers, so what we usually try is we try to minimize all unnecessary costs for our customers. Means we can come with a crew of 8, of 10, of 12, of 16 ISS technicians from Germany. But usually that would just be spending unnecessarily money because, of course, coming from Germany, that's more cost intensive than just having some local labor work or volunteers. And so we usually tried so far, depending on the size, starting from 1, 2, 3, maximum 4 technicians from our side who work and are supervisors at the same time. And then especially in the world of curling, where there are so many dedicated people, dedicated to the sport, dedicated to the club. I mean, you guys have just been in Mayfield, Shawn, you've been in LA, and these are just 2 perfect examples where so many people with all their heart in for the club were so supportive and helpful, the volunteers. And then there is a great way just to save costs. By guaranteeing there is a minimum 4, 6, 8 people on site for a couple of days. In exchange with the customer, we make a plan. Of course, when it's agreed there come 6 people to work, then we need to see the 6 people, right? But so far, that has never been any issue. And it's also for the people being part of the story and being part of the storytelling about the club and having not only witnessed the conversion or getting the dedicated ice, but really have built it by themselves with their own hands, gives a complete different bondage to the club and to the sport once again. And I mean, these ladies and gentlemen, if they're lucky, they will have decades maybe to play on the ice they built themselves. So it's just a nice thing to do, I think, and be part of that.
Saeed, so am I muted? So one question that just popped up is regarding the stainless steel tubing. Was it adapted from CSST gas piping, I guess is the question.
I'm not sure what CSS the SGS piping, what it is? Can you help me with that?
I'm not sure what that is either, but I think it looks similar to like something that you'd hook up maybe a gas range in the United States to the gas outlet.
I'm
think
not sure, to be
ISS
honest, but you have seen the shape. We were just looking to have that material on the same specifications as we have the plastic pipe. And if something like that is used similar to gas piping, then it might be. I just don't know and can't tell you. But it's a ripped pipe used for that, made of
Art,
special
maybe,
stainless
Art,
steel.
did you have a comment?
It's similar CSS course corrugated stainless steel. So both of them are corrugated stainless steel. But I think maybe the inside diameter of the ISS might be a bit bigger than what you would see on a range.
Thanks. And so one more question. I guess there's two questions, Art, and let's just jump in, or actually Saeed. You know, everyone wants to know about the cost and everyone wants a quick quote. Obviously, there's too many variables, but can you speak to a little bit about general costs?
Yes, of course. No problem at all. So when we are talking about costs at the moment, and we are just affected as everybody else in the manufacturing process on a worldwide base, our raw material prices just went up during the last few months. Too much, as I would say, and I know Art, his industry is affected by that as well, like everybody else in the manufacturing process. But currently, when we are talking about IceGrid Classic Ring, yes, and we are talking, let's say, a 6-sheet facility with IceGrid Classic in US dollars. And this is including installation, including shipping to the East Coast in a town somewhere around the East Coast. Let me give you the price in US dollar with the current exchange rate. Just a moment, please. So that would be around 250,000 US dollar for a 6-sheet rink with IceGrid Classic, plastic tubing, including the installation, with 3 guys from our side, 1 supervisor, 2 assembly technician, with some help of volunteers, and with the transport included to the East Coast. Then in comparison with the IceGrid Plus system, again, 6 sheets, again, including the transport, again, including the installation, we would be cost-wise talking about 334,000 US dollar at the moment. So these prices were going up in the last 12 months because of the raw material indexes, and the raw material we have to pay by about 15% roughly. And we expect, or we hope, these prices do go down again. But honestly, not today and not tomorrow. This might take another, I don't know, 4 to 8 to 10 months. It's just hard to predict at the moment at the raw material prices. But we think it will go down at least 5 to 10% again. And then, of course, the currency exchange rate is that we write order confirmation and invoices in US dollar. We have a US dollar account, and we do a currency hedge with the German National Bank on our expense to secure the currency exchange rate on the day the contract was signed. Meaning, no matter what the currency exchange rate is doing, your amount, or the client's, the customer's amount in US dollar will not change. This is completely secured with a currency hedge on our side. Steve, maybe help me. I just see a question from Phil. Does the 250K cost include the transmission mains? Don't want to get lost in translation. What's the transmission mains? Is it the connection from the headers between chillers to the rink, or Art, maybe you know what it is?
I believe he means the connection between the ice plant to the ice grid. And that's variable depending upon how close the plant is to the end of the header trench. The one that Greg and I just did 2 weeks ago, 2 of us had it done in a day. So that was a very close one.
Yeah, I mean, that's just depending. The header. Okay, yes, he meant the header. Yes, of course, the header is completely included. So it's a HTB header. It's got all the shut-off valves, all the connection set, meaning the prices that I gave you for the 250K, that was all inclusive. It means you need a chiller and you need the brine or the glycol, but everything else is included, and we have partners for the refrigeration, which we can introduce, or if there is an existing chiller, or if you have someone else, we will find that as well and make it suitable.
Great stuff, everybody. Here's another question. Thanks. You're welcome, Phil. Phil is in Racine, probably having Kringle.
Okay. I'm just checking the questions.
I'm gonna have to jump off right at 12:30. We've got another semis to get going for here.
Yep.
I do want to say thank you to Saeed and Art and Matt for jumping on here, telling their stories. Like I said, this truly is not an ad for me. It is a good system. Both ends, Art's plant and Saeed's grid systems. I can't find anything substantial to complain about. They've got a good deal going here. And as far as me and my role going forward, any place, anytime, get a hold of me. If I don't have an answer, I'll make it up or find the right one for you. And we'll go from there. Hopefully there'll be, or I know there'll be more time for personal outreach to clubs as they ask for it or want it. And we'll get going a little harder on the education piece so we can get everybody up on a good level playing field and build some consistency across the board. So thanks again to everybody.
Thanks for your time and support, Shawn. Appreciate it.
Well, as Shawn leaves us, are there any more questions? As always, this is recorded, so it will be able to be viewed later. And any of these individuals always have access, you know, if you wanted to contact them and talk to them personally. I do have their contact information. We didn't get it here to you today, so.
Yes, please, everybody's very welcome. Send me an email or give me a call, or I can call you back. And we are very happy to discuss either by video call or by email. And like Steve said, I was just recently for 2 weeks in the US, just came back beginning this week. So I'm quite often in the States every couple of weeks, and I'm available. So if somebody wants to see me, needs to see me, it's not a big deal. Don't worry about the ocean between us. There are planes, and I'll be around your town if you need me. Don't worry about that.
Saeed is not afraid of airlines. How many flights did you take?
16 in 2 weeks.
Crazy.
If you have any questions about comparison of US airlines, you can ask me. I had it all.
What's the best frequent flyer miles?
Well, I have Star Alliance, so United. So if possible, I go United. But yeah, I think everybody's happy with what he got.
Well, there's no more questions. Anybody have any final thoughts before we wrap up? See you, Shawn. Thank you.
Thanks, Shawn.
Well, I would just like to say again, on behalf of the United States Curling Association and USA Curling, thank you for taking a time to join us this Sunday morning, and thank you to our panelists, Matt Gamboa, Saeed Hakim, Art Sutherland, and Shawn Olesen. So with that, let's say goodbye and have a great Sunday.
To all of you as well. And like I say, please let me know if anybody's out there who needs some support, okay? Have a wonderful Sunday. Thanks, Steve.
Okay.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Art. Bye, guys.
Everyone.
Bye.